Good morning. Where I am. Yeah, let's eat a breakfast, shall we? Once again, the usual one: rice with raw milk and honey, tea and water. So another race, and the last one from the big Summers 4, and the third 100k also in the last 36 days. And I start to like this distance way more than those shorter ones, that's for sure. So I'm in the east part of Slovakia, in the Kisak, and the finish in the Košice. And would you believe I've never been in Košice, which is the second biggest city of Slovakia, which is kind of funny and ironic that I lived in Vancouver, which is 8,500 kilometers away, but I've never been in Košice, which is not that far. But I guess that's the beauty of traveling, exploring, and also ultra running. That through ultra running I can explore new cities and new places I've never been before, and maybe I would not even go, but because the race is here, it's the opportunity to be here and explore it. So very grateful for that. And about the race, yeah, it was rainy through the whole week basically, or some of the days were rainy, so I can expect that the terrain will be very muddy and slippery at some point. And also quite a big storm was hour or 2 hours ago, so that didn't help for the train for sure. And it should be rainy again at evening, but which is funny that through the day it's going to be really hot, like it should be like 28 Celsius, 28 degrees Celsius, so that I can expect it's going to be hot and humid, which is not ideal, but that's what we need to deal with. Let's race. Not sure if even the postponed race start will help. The sky, yeah, seems still pretty mad and angry. So this is not really safe to go, especially uphill and to the forest. So either it's going to be postponed again to 8 a.m. Now it's like 6 only, or it's going to be cancelled. I don't know. It should be done at 8 though, so we'll see. But still, like running through the terrain after a heavy rain like this, that's going to be something like my first race in Squamish probably. That's going to be fun, eh? Hi, welcome back to another video. Let's jump straight into the race and what happened. So exactly last week, I did the last race of the big summer 4. So 4 races in 36 days. The name I created, so it's not official. So it was the last dance and the last one, and I knew that it is a big challenge to go from one race to another, so go back to back to back. But I wanted to see what I can handle, if I can push it, and what I can do with the recovery, nutrition, and all of these things. So the race start was postponed due to thunderstorm to 7 a.m. and we started in the quite heavy rain, which was actually quite pleasant, and for the next 2 or 3 hours it was like that.
No koniecznie! We have to go off the course. And we were enjoying that kind of weather, light breathing and good running and good pace, good flow. We knew though that after that the really hot weather will come and like sun will shine on us and it's going to be like sauna. So that was actually a real threat. We knew it will come. Alright, 11 kilometers in, almost 90 minutes. And yeah, but the first like 20-25 kilometers were quite good and I felt like very good. It was effortless. We were chatting with Alex once again. Everything was good. I had a little crisis, but very fast I overcame that and that was okay. Came to the aid station and we continued. Around 30 kilometers though, I started to feel like I should eat something, I should have something solid. I felt this little emptiness in the stomach, this weird feeling which I don't like, and so I knew that I need to eat something solid. I had my little potato pancakes with me once again, but that was the mistake, that I was a bit stubborn with my own nutrition and that I didn't want to eat anything on the aid stations because I was like, I don't know how I will handle it, and like I will eat only my own thing. But this time I didn't really have a feeling for it. I didn't like the taste of that, so I didn't really eat. And very slowly it started to be an issue, a problem. Alright, 34 kilometers, 5 hours, 2000 meters of elevation gain. We have another aid station behind us. Took just water, coke. Now we should go to do some solid climb, and for another 12 kilometers till we will come to the ridge. Then should be downhill to another aid station, and not raining anymore. The sun is there, becoming more and more hot, but here in the forest it's actually quite good, so all good. Still with Alex, still going after it. 46 kilometers, 6 hours, 38 minutes, 2,500 meters elevation gain, and we are very close to aid station. I need to eat something solid. I feel like I have this emptiness in the stomach. I don't like that. So I will eat my little potato pancakes and some Coke, some water, and we can go for another 10 kilometer stretch till we come to the aid station with a drop bag. Let's go.
To je číslo, prosím.
68.
Super. Čo ti chýba?
Neviem, duša.
Ale nebo nič. Čo chceš doplniť na pitie?
And came to the aid station at kilometer 57 where we had drawback as well. I had a soup, but this time the soup didn't help. I went for the big climb, like over 800 meters of elevation gain in next several kilometers. And there I had a really big crisis. I literally needed to sit down for like 2 minutes. I had a gel with caffeine, basically the first caffeine I had through the whole day, except the morning's black tea. And I put the headphones on and put the music on, and I was hoping that this is going to help. And it slightly helped for sure. Then I came to the aid station at kilometer 66 or something like that. I had a radler. I didn't want to drink Coke anymore. I didn't want to have that really sweet taste in mouth anymore. And received the information that another aid station is just a couple of kilometers downhill, which is good, but I started to really feel my legs and glute and lower back, like they started to be smashed, which was probably the outcome of the race I did last week, so the week ago. So that didn't help, obviously. So I was starting to feel like I am tired. Came there and received the information that now I will climb like 300 meters, and then basically the other station is then just downhill. So it was like 12 kilometer stretch from 76 to 88 kilometers. So went through the climb, but then the downhill, normally I would send it and I would love that section because I really like to go downhill. You can go fast and don't think about anything, but this time my lower back were killing me, man. He was like, we ain't doing this shit, man, today, like fuck you. So I literally needed to stop like every 4 or 5 minutes to stretch my back. That helped for like 5 seconds, and then I was in the same pain than before. And another mistake I did, that I didn't use the Vaseline on the beginning of the race, so my inner thighs were burned, man, and that was like the burning sensation through the whole race. Not very pleasant thing, and especially when you need to run for 15-16 hours with that, so that didn't help. I came to that aid station, Vychodniarska, which was 86-88 kilometer mark, and my first question was literally where I can sit down. So I did that. They gave me the pasta with ketchup and tuna and some drink, and I knew that I needed to really eat something because I couldn't continue without the food. But I couldn't. I just wasn't able to eat anything, and I was just sitting there and like thinking about life and about like what I'm doing and how I will be able to finish this race. And literally like eating that pasta was equally hard as running to that aid station through the whole 88 kilometers. So like I really wasn't able to eat, and I knew that in this state, physical and mental, it's going to be very hard to finish. And yeah, even knowing that it's only 22 kilometers with less than 500 meters of elevation gain, so really the hardest thing was already behind me. I just didn't feel like I can do it, and it was already night, so it was like 8:50 p.m. So like the thought of going through the night alone with all the pain, and I didn't feel it. So I made a decision that like I'm done for today, which was very sad and frustrating for sure. And even week after, I still feel like these emotions. But I was also like reflecting on that in the previous days, like also where is the line between like always pushing it and like never quitting and this attitude, and where is to actually listening to the body and knowing what's smart and what's healthy for you, especially when you know that you want to do other races later. So yeah, I don't have the answer where is the line, but I felt like at the moment it was a good call to not finish and not to continue and not to create even more damage. Maybe not even physical, but also like the mental. Like who knows, maybe I will be really smashed even today, mentally for sure. So yeah, I made a decision, and that's ultra running though. Like you never know what can happen. Really, you can prepare for anything, and then something else can happen you didn't expect, and you need to react to that. And sometimes you just will do mistakes, as I did. So I now know that okay, I always need to have the little Vaseline with me in the drop bag. I already have the Sudocrem little jar, and also when my body is giving me signals that let's eat something solid, like I don't be stubborn, eat, even when it means that I will need to like slow down for next 20 minutes because I will need to digest that food, like do it. Because if that means that if I will be able to then finish strong and even overcome some people who will struggle in the last 10-15 kilometers, then it is really worthy. So, and I knew that, but sometimes you're not really logical and rational during these races, because all the adrenaline and all the emotions that, yeah, sometimes you're doing mistakes, and that's okay, and you need to learn from them. So really, I will not really dwell on this because it's already happened, it's in the past, and the only thing I can do is to learn from those mistakes, not repeat them, take those lessons and be better and stronger for the future races. And I was also thinking that maybe I kind of like needed this thing to happen, because I started to maybe feel like I'm physically strong and mentally strong, and I can push through anything, and I can go from one race to another with a week of recovery, and that's enough, and I am undisputed. Which is not true. You always have room to grow, you always have work to do, and it's always about learning and getting better. So I think this was a good way to keep myself and my ego in check, and it humbled me for sure. So now I'm on my knees, and it's up to me what I will do, but I can tell you that I feel this fire now. I feel this fire from this L, and I can take that, and really I will be back stronger and better than ever before. So maybe this was a bit of like the blessing in the disguise, and I needed that, and now it's up to me what I will do. So let's see what I will do. In less than, what, 2 weeks? Yeah, in 2 weeks I will do the race I did last year, so I can really see the progress, and I can see if I learn from the mistakes, and let's see what kind of performance and result I will get. So really, that's it. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.